going through my little notes here. I don't have a whole lot more that I was going to touch upon with this game. I think I've kind of covered all my bases, pun intended. The last thing I was going to mention for sure before recapping is that there are just only really a couple ways to vary this game. Um, Number of innings, right? I think 5, 6, and 7 innings, 5 and 7, are pretty typical numbers we see at the lower levels. Um, Take your pick. Okay, that's that. To me, that's not a big priority in presenting this, but know that that is something that you can just like with traditional baseball at the youth level. I've seen variations. I've seen 5 inning games. I've seen 7 inning games. Obviously, run rules can come into effect sometimes as early as the 3rd inning. So I've seen 3 inning games, 4 inning games. You name it. All right. So you can control the innings. You can vary that, and then batters, the number of batters. I say 5 batter baseball. That means 5 batters per inning per team. Okay, per half inning. Um, I think that's the best number. I would personally, I would hear somebody out if they said 6 is a better number than 5. But any more than 6 and any less than 5, I'm really not personally sold on that making much sense. I think 7's too many. If you're going to get that every single inning, play a real game, you have 7 batters bat 1 inning, and then, not that many bat any other inning. It's not a big deal. But if you're seeing 7 batters every single inning, that's quite a bit. Okay, I mean, it just is. All right, so I think 5 or 6 is the happy medium there. I prefer 5, but 6 is just about as well if you ask me. Kind of splitting hairs, but I'll take the 5. So that's your only really ways that I know to vary this game. I mentioned the 2 options with how you handle the last batter of the last inning. So there you can vary that way too. Take option A, umpire's discretion. Option B, you just keep running bases until you get tagged out, kind of thing. And again, to kind of conclude this whole thing, this is not something I am suggesting that we are doing at higher levels. 14U up, I don't think it has a place. Maybe if it's low level 14U, I think you could still do it. It's still beneficial. This format would be beneficial hypothetically at Major League Baseball level to some degree, right? But obviously, we don't have the issues at that level that we do with travel sports. So it's an apples to oranges sort of thing. So anyway, again, my thoughts with this is something we do with 12U and below, keeping in mind that more practice, more opportunities for development is what is at the core of this. That's the motivation for this. That's part of the motivation of this. The other part being for tournament directors, you get that control of time. I have not played this format. I cannot tell you an average inning last 10 minutes. I don't know. But it's something that can be figured out pretty quick. You could get a pretty good average after a few games of what an inning takes to play. So from the director of a tournament standpoint, you've got that benefit. From the coach's standpoint of knowing how many at-bats you're going to have for substitutions, pinch hitters, that sort of thing, it gives the coaches that benefit. And again, near and dear to my heart is that when you've got 2 teams that are not equal at all, and one team's far better, you can still have a very lopsided scoreboard, and that's fine. It can still be, like I said earlier, an 18-0 ball game. One team got destroyed by another team. That can still happen with this format of baseball. You probably won't score quite as many runs because of the 5-batter cap in the last inning having its cap, but you're still going to see the better team come out ahead 99 times out of 100. I don't know. If they play like the better team, that is. It's just that this takes the sting away because, again, as the lesser team, I'm not out there in the field any longer, for the most part, than the team that's beating us up. Okay? So it doesn't feel quite as bad outside of what the scoreboard says. Okay, time spent in the field, time spent at bat, it's all equal. That all feels the same, at least, even when the scoreboard is very different for both teams. All right, so that's kind of it in a nutshell. I do want to kind of touch on PE real quick. I said I would. Some of you probably play a lot of games, kickball games, whatever, with caps on kickers. Okay, no more than 10 will kick in an inning. If we don't get 3 outs before 10 kickers, we are switching sides anyway. We see that in Little League Baseball at low levels too. The kind of mercy rule, 10 batter rule, what have you. So some of you already do that kind of stuff, but this makes more sense. This is something that you do. It doesn't matter. The outs don't matter. It's 5 batters, 5 kickers, an inning, period, in the story, switch. I think that helps facilitate some of your PE kickball games, mush ball games, if you do play real softball or baseball. It allows you to play these games even with kids who maybe aren't experienced at these games and who don't have that skill level. So you can play these games. They're still fluid, not long half innings, and that's still a net positive for your PE class if you're doing, again, those sort of baseball style games in your classroom. Other than that, that's all I've got. I got a little bit long in this last video, but that's okay. All right. Please feel free to leave thoughts, questions, comments in the comments section. I don't check my YouTube hardly ever, but I might, out of curiosity, to see how this is received. If you think it's the dumbest idea in the world because you're a baseball purist, I guess you can say that, but understand that I understand that this is not pure baseball. This is not meant to be what we're doing with the major leaguers, the high schoolers, the collegiate players, the elite 14U travel teams. It's not my intention to see this happen there. This is something that we can do for our younger athletes in some of these tournaments and stuff, where we're trying to keep games to a certain length, and we're trying to, keep kids motivated, keep kids having fun, despite maybe being outclassed in some of these games. All right. So again, if the purists out there don't like it, that's fine. It's not meant to be pure baseball. But again, some of these ideas that I suggest, while they seem wonky, anymore, they're not that wonky because, like I said, I mean, we're even seeing at the Major League Baseball level the international tiebreaker where the runner goes out to second base to start an extra inning. So, to act like that's an absurd idea to stick runners back on their bases from one inning to the next, it's just not. It's not that far off if they're doing it at the Major League Baseball level anyway. So, some of these ideas really just aren't that crazy. I think in the bigger scheme of things, I think there's really a lot of net positives to it as well. So thanks for your time. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.